Hello friends, and welcome back to the Dork Side. I'm the Dork in the Road, and these are my cold weather, wet weather motorcycle riding hacks. I'm the Dork in the Road, and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. It is fall. The weather is not as nice as it was all summer, and for many, the riding season is over. If you got feet of snow outside, I'm sorry that you can't get out and ride. That sucks. I'm blessed to live in a place where it gets cold and wet, but we rarely have snow, so I can kind of ride year round. And because of that, I've kind of picked up some hints and tips that help make it easier and more comfortable for me to ride when it's wet and cold out. And I just wanted to pass on sort of the things I've discovered to help me stay more comfortable to those of you who may also be trying to get out there and ride even though it's cold and wet. The reason why this is a hacks video and not a tips video is waterproof gear and all that, that's obvious. So let me tell you some of the things I've discovered that are maybe a little bit less obvious, but that work incredibly well for staying warm and comfortable while riding in the cold and wet. The first thing I want to talk about is handguards. I'm not going to give you a whole physics lesson, but just know that cold air blowing across anything is a thief of heat, and the most vulnerable place to that cold air blowing across it while we're riding is our hands. And that's bad for a couple reasons. One, because they're the most exposed. Two, because your body will tend to shut down blood flow and heat to your extremities to preserve the core when it's cold. So it's one of the first things to kind of go numb. And three, your hands are responsible for what, 75% of the controls of the motorcycle. So it's sort of important that those are comfortable and usable. So handguards is a great way to ensure that you're able to continue using your hands, which is sort of important when you're riding a motorcycle. So a lot of us run protective handguards on our motorcycles, on our dual sport and adventure bikes. Those are great for deflecting brush. Those are great for when the bike goes down to protect your levers. And they will deflect a little wind, but in the winter, that is not enough. And so there are ways to increase that protection, to improve that protection in an easy way. First of which I want to talk about is the hippo hands. So these things are called hippo hands because they look like the hands of a hippo, but they just slip over your handlebars. You have to have handguards already to use these, but they slip over. It's just a Velcro attachment in a couple places, quick and easy to take on and off the bike. And these things are insulated. I don't know if you can see, so there's a quilted liner, and this outside is a waterproof kind of TPU-like material, but these things are magic. They're amazing. They look a little silly, admittedly, but not only do they protect you from the wind and the rain, keeping your hands dry and keeping them protected from the wind chill, but they're also insulated so the heat that comes off your hands or your heated grips, if you're running them, is kind of captured in there, and it makes it even warmer. So it's just a nice, warm, cozy cocoon for your hands, and it makes a massive difference. So I will link everything in this video for you in the description, obviously, including hippo hands. And the hippo hands guys are awesome. I've hung out with them at a couple events. But that's one great way to break the wind and protect your hands. A similar product that's a little bit less expensive and kind of super underrated in my opinion is these Giant Loop Bushwhacker handguards. So this is a sheet of pretty rigid plastic, and it comes with two pronghorn straps. And you just slap this thing on over your existing handguards. It takes about, I don't know, 30 seconds to put on. That gives you a rigid protection from not only the wind and the rain, but also they're called bushwhackers for a reason. They'll deflect branches. They're very sturdy, but they're strong enough to last at highway speeds. And I've run them for an entire winter on several dual sports, including my DRZ. And those things are lifesavers. They do look silly. They look like moose antlers, but man, when you're out there in the cold and the rain and you're riding on the trails or whatever all day, sure is nice to have them. So wind protection for your hands is important. Another hack that I've learned over the years is layers. And you're saying, yeah, everyone knows about layers. True, but there are some underrated features of layers that I think maybe some people don't take advantage of. Layers have a couple advantages. One, anytime you add a layer of clothing, you're trapping air in between layers, and that provides insulation. It's like a thermos. That's how a thermos works. So the more layers, the more trapped air pockets, the more insulation that you have from the outside, the more your body heat is trapped inside. And layers are also great because they're incredibly versatile. You leave first thing in the morning and it's super cold, and you get up on top of the mountain and it's sunny or whatever, you can take off a layer, throw it in your backpack, put the rest back on, keep going. And that's easy to do and adjust as the temperature changes all day. You can throw on your waterproof layer, you can take it off when it's not raining. So layers are very versatile and very effective for insulation. And people think about, I say layers and people think, well, yeah, I'm gonna wear layers on my chest and maybe a base layer on my lower half, but they forget about the other places you can put layers, including your hands. These are glove liners. I've used these to great effectiveness. They're just a thin layer, these are fleece, that goes under your glove. Doesn't really affect your dexterity at all, and it gives you an additional layer of warmth, another layer of insulation, and some of them, if your gloves aren't wind blocking, this will add that wind blocking again to protect you from the wind chills stealing all your body heat. And another place you can add layers is on your head. This is a Smart Wool Balaclava. I love this thing. It works great. Super warm. I like this one because it's got a super breathable mesh right in front of my mouth. And another place you can layer up is on your feet. So obviously you're gonna wear socks. I really like these Smart Wool socks. Any wool socks are a good call because even if they get wet, they're gonna keep you warm. But I like to wear another pair of socks under my wool socks. That adds another layer, and it kept me way warmer with even just a cotton sock under a wool sock. You can layer up on your feet. You can layer up on your head. Just a beanie underneath. You can run just a neck gaiter. I know you guys have these. You can put this on your head. That'll give you another layer of insulation, makes your helmet slide on and off easier. And the other thing I love about this, speaking of layers, I run this all summer, obviously, but I also wear it in the winter because if you just put it around your neck, like you normally wear it, it will keep cold air from getting down into your jacket and keep you warmer. A neck gaiter can prevent you from having to have your collar buttoned up all the way and choking yourself to death. I struggle with that. Another hack, and this one's maybe not for everybody, but grow a beard. This keeps a lot of cold air from getting to my chin and my neck and everything. But layers, man, layers all over the place. Another note on layers, a lot of gear comes with zip-in quilted liners, and I personally hate those for a couple reasons. One, you zip that into your jacket and your pants, and you're walking around, and it really feels like I'm wearing a snowsuit from the 80s, like I'm the Michelin Man. It affects my dexterity, it's uncomfortable, I feel constricted. I really, really don't like those quilted zip-in liners personally because of that feeling, and also they're kind of a pain in the ass. If you want to make an adjustment during the day, you got to take your jacket off, you got to find 4 or 5 snaps, you got to unzip a couple zippers, you got to roll that thing up and stick it in a pocket, whatever. And on the pants, forget about it. You're not taking your pants off to take your quilted liner out in the middle of the day. It's just not going to happen. And you know, once I take it out, I don't want to put it back in. They're a pain in the ass. So I prefer layers that aren't connected to each other. I always start when it's cold out with a base layer, a wool base layer. This is a Smart Wool quarter zip pullover, and this is Smart Wool leggings. These are fantastic. On the bottom half, on my lower half for pants, I don't wear a quilted liner at all. I wear a base layer and waterproof, windproof pants, and I've been good down to freezing temperatures, down to 32 Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius. In just that setup. I don't like it any bulkier than that, and I've been fine, so that's what I recommend for that. On the top layer, I like to go with the wool base layer, and then I like to add a mid layer. There's a bunch of options. My favorite is the Scorpion zip-up hoodie because it's got a windproof exterior like a soft shell with fleece inside. So it's warm, but it'll block the wind. So I can wear this under even mesh gear, and it'll block the wind and keep me a heck of a lot warmer. If it's a little colder, I'll sometimes go with a fleece, like this is my Backcountry Discovery Routes fleece. It has a warm mid layer, but I would only wear this under a jacket that's already waterproofed because I need something that's going to block the wind and block the water if it comes in. None of those layers are attached to my jacket. So if I want to change, it's the middle of the day and I'm getting hot, all I have to do is stop, unzip my jacket, take it off, unzip the mid layer, take it off, put my jacket back on, throw in the mid layer in my backpack, I'm golden. And it works in reverse too. I'm getting cold, stop, unzip, mid layer on, jacket back on. Go, right? That takes 2 minutes. I don't even get wet. With those zip in and out liners, not the case. You're gonna get wet trying to deal with it. This video is getting so long. Hacks videos are supposed to be short, dude. My third set of hacks for cold weather riding is about visor fogging. And the first thing everyone says when you say visor fogging is, we'll get a pin lock insert. And I have several. And they work fine in the short term. They work fine on a sort of cold day. When it is near freezing and raining, the inside of this will fog up just from my breathing. They do fog up on the inside. It doesn't get inside the pin lock, so the insulated layer still works, but I've gotten fog on these a ton of times, so it's a constant struggle. So this is my Scorpion 18950. This is a dual sport helmet, but it's also a snowmobile helmet, which means you can buy, this is an actual dual pane snowmobile visor. This is not a pin lock insert. The visor is designed with the dual pane. That works a lot better in the cold and the wet conditions, and because this is a snowmobile helmet, I can also get literally a heated visor for it, like the snowmobiles. If you want to wear goggles when it's cold and wet, which I've done to try to keep it from fogging up, ski goggles are better than motocross goggles. They're vented, they'll have a double pane design. Those help a lot in the cold conditions. So those all work, but if you're just looking for a quick and dirty solution, there's a lot of things you can do to make the inside of your visor less sticky to water. They make an anti-fog coating, Rain-X anti-fog. You can apply shaving cream, let it dry and wipe it off. Apparently you can use a potato because the starches in the potato work as a surfactant. If you're out in the field and your visor just keeps fogging up and you can't get it to stop, you can use spit, you can use snot. Those things will work. Apparently shampoo, like Head & Shoulder shampoo. So there's a lot of things you can apply to your visor to keep it from fogging up, and those are all cheap and easy. A more obvious hack is heated grips and heated gear. You can buy gloves like these Racer Aqua FHH, these are 4 heated handguards, so they're wind blocking and all that. Lots of insulation on the backside, and the inside insulation is a little bit thinner so that you can actually feel the heat from your heated grips a little better. So you can buy gloves that are designed to work with heated grips if you have them. I ride with Tim all the time. He runs heated gear. You can plug it directly into your bike, which is kind of awkward if you have an abrupt get off, but it's better than freezing all day. They also make battery powered stuff. So if you're really going to be out for a long time, on a long ride, if you're a commuter or something, you're riding every day in the cold and wet, no matter what, that heated gear is worth looking into. That's more obvious and less of a hack. So to make up for it, the 6th hack I have for you is probably the most hacky because it's cheap and you can do it with household items. But things to consider carrying with you all the time when you're riding, but particularly in the winter. A trash bag, big trash bag, and a pair of rubber gloves. Let me tell you why. Trash bag, if you get caught in the rain, if you get caught in suddenly very cold and you need to block wind or rain, you can poke holes in the top and the 2 sides of the trash bag and make it into an impromptu parka. You can even put that under your jacket if you want and it'll last a little longer, but that will, in a pinch, block rain and wind and get you home drier and less cold than you would have been had you not done it. It looks stupid. That's better than freezing to death. In addition to that, if you carry a pair of rubber gloves with you, you can put those on under your gloves. Your hands are gonna sweat and it's gonna capture that sweat, but that's still probably better than if your gloves are soaked on the outside, that cold wetness getting to your hands. And it's not an all-day solution, but it will get you home. And bonus, if you have those things in your backpack with you all the time, you're prepared to pick up whatever garbage you happen to find in the woods or wherever, which happens all the time. So multi-use, multi-purpose for those items. If you throw them in your bag, you never know when you might need them. Well, this was supposed to be a quick and dirty hacks video, but it's already way too long, so I'm gonna leave you there. I'm gonna throw out hot hands hands warmers. Those are great for sticking in your jacket pocket or even into your glove. Keep a couple of those with you in your gear when you're out riding. Okay, that's it. So if you have other cold weather riding hacks, please feel free to leave them in the comments, share them with each other. Let's all learn from each other. But for now, and as always, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!
Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Dork side. Why does my head do that thing?